Sarah, too, was trapped in her own web of guilt. She had made choices that had hurt the people she loved the most. She had betrayed Michael, and in doing so, she had betrayed herself. She had never intended for things to get this far. It had started innocently enough, a few lunches with Ryan, a few shared conversations about work, and then it escalated. First, we're getting into this video. Subscribe my channel, click the bell icon, stay connected. Let's begin. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there lived a family that seemed perfect to the outside world. Michael and Sarah, married for over 15 years, with 2 children, Ethan, their teenage son, and Lily, their young daughter. From the outside, they were just like any other family, busy, content, a little stressed at times, but loving and supportive. They would have Sunday dinners together, family movie nights, and Sarah would always bake Ethan's favorite cookies after school. But behind closed doors, a secret festered, one that neither Michael, Ethan, nor Lily knew how to confront. Michael had always trusted Sarah. She was kind, funny, and to him, perfect in every way. But recently, things had changed. Sarah had become distant. She started working late at the office more often. Her phone became a fortress she rarely let anyone near, and her once bright smile seemed dimmed. Michael, ever the observant husband, noticed the subtle shift, but he didn't want to believe it. He didn't want to acknowledge what he feared was happening. One evening, as Michael came home early from work to surprise his wife with dinner, he found the house eerily quiet. Sarah wasn't in the living room where she usually would be, or in the kitchen where she loved to experiment with new recipes. Her car was in the driveway, but the house felt empty. As he walked into their bedroom, a chill ran down his spine. He didn't know why, but something about the scene before him struck him in a way that words couldn't describe. The door was slightly ajar, and there, in the dim light of the room, was Sarah, entwined with another man in the bed. Michael's heart stopped. It wasn't just any man. It was her boss, Ryan. A man Michael had often heard her speak about with admiration. The man who had been giving her extra projects and offering career advice. The man she had started working closely with in the past few months. For a long moment, Michael just stood there, frozen, watching the scene unfold. His mind screamed to do something, to confront them, to yell, to cry. But all he could do was breathe in shallow breaths. His thoughts felt like a blur, and for reasons he couldn't fully understand, he left the room quietly, slipping out of the house as unnoticed as he had come in. He spent the night in his car, not knowing where else to go. He didn't even want to go back to the house, back to the place that had once been his sanctuary, now tainted with betrayal. His mind raced. Why had Sarah done this? Why did it have to be Ryan? Was their entire marriage a lie? The next morning, he came home like nothing had happened. Sarah was acting as if nothing had changed. She greeted him with a kiss on the cheek and went about her morning routine, getting the kids ready for school, making breakfast. Ethan and Lily didn't suspect a thing. They still saw their mother as the loving, reliable figure she always was. Michael, however, couldn't look at her the same way. He didn't confront her. He didn't say a word about what he had seen. Why? Maybe he was waiting for her to admit it, to confess. Maybe he was too afraid to shatter the fragile illusion of normalcy that still surrounded them. Or maybe, deep down, he was too afraid of losing everything: his family, his home, his life. He had always been a quiet man, a patient man, one who kept his emotions buried deep inside. Confronting Sarah, tearing their lives apart, felt like a kind of death to him. For weeks, Michael continued to live like this, silent, numb, holding the secret in his chest. He watched Sarah come home late from work, always with a weary look in her eyes, but never an explanation. He watched Ethan and Lily laugh and joke around her, unaware of the quiet tension that hovered over them like a cloud. He told himself that it wasn't about her anymore. It was about them, his children. He stayed for Ethan and Lily. He didn't want them to feel the pain of a broken home. Ethan was old enough to notice things weren't quite right, but he never brought it up. Lily, too young to understand, continued to play with her dolls, as if everything was as it always had been. As the months went by, Michael's heart grew heavy. He could no longer ignore the gnawing feeling that something was terribly wrong. But he stayed, for Ethan, for Lily, for the life they had built together. Sarah, too, lived in this fragile cocoon of lies. She continued the affair, but there was a part of her that regretted it. She felt the weight of the guilt every day, but she couldn't stop. Ryan made her feel seen, appreciated, things she hadn't felt in a long time. She knew it was wrong, but the temptation was too strong, and the loneliness too deep. But even as she betrayed Michael, there were moments when she looked at her family and felt the ache of loss. She saw Ethan's bright smile and Lily's innocent laugh, and for a brief second, she wished she could turn back time, undo the choices she had made. But the affair was already too deep, and the damage was done. One evening, after another long day at work, Sarah came home to find Michael sitting on the couch, his face pale and tired. He had been looking at the family photo on the wall, a snapshot of happier days. "I need to talk to you," he said quietly. Sarah sat down next to him, her heart racing. She knew the moment had come. She had been waiting for it, dreading it, but it was inevitable. Michael took a deep breath, his eyes not quite meeting hers. "I know," he said softly. "About you and Ryan. I saw you both." Sarah's face went pale. She opened her mouth to say something, but the words failed her. Michael sighed. "I'm not angry. I'm not even sure what I feel anymore. But I can't keep pretending. I don't know how to fix this." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Michael, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you." Ethan and Lily had come downstairs, hearing the conversation. Ethan, sensing the tension, stood at the bottom of the stairs, his arms crossed. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice uncertain. Sarah wiped away a tear and looked at her children. We need to talk about something." The family sat there, in that room full of quiet pain.